Hello, folks. Welcome to Pro Trader Strategies. My name's Eric Wilkinson, and this is Spotting the Trade. I want to thank you guys all for joining us, but before you go, make sure you smash that like button for us, because what we're doing is feeding some bots to run out there and find somebody like you to share this information with. So, and throughout this video, please feel free to comment. I'm going to make sure everybody is clear of concept before moving on. So feel free to chat it up over there on the side. I will try and keep an eye on you folks over there. All right. So I usually talk about the economic data, see how that's impacting the markets, wrap it up with talking about some strategies that I may be implementing into my portfolio based on what we come up with in this analysis of the markets. All right. So nothing really happening yesterday. I was off yesterday. So today, making up for that, trying to anyway for you folks. We had a couple of economic data points here in the United States. In the form of the National Federation of Independent Businesses. It's a small business index. This is a great gauge because small businesses are really what drives the economy. That's what creates velocity and money. So we're going to be keeping an eye on what those folks think. And with that said, it came in at 98.2, continuing to see this number ratchet down. Not a good thing. The small businesses becoming less confident is never a good thing, because heading into a Christmas season, they might be crimping their spending there. And then we also got the Producer Price Index, PPI, coming in at 0.6%. Core PPI, which is going to strip out food and energy, coming in at 0.4%, expected to be 0.5%. So not seeing elevated levels here on the producer side for inflation there. We also had Powell speaking, not really a whole lot going on there, but folks are acting a little bit more dovish here. Going forward. So let's talk about the overall markets and see what's going on there. We've got crude oil blasting off to the upside again. I was expecting surely that we were going to see probably 60, 70, or at least $70 before we saw $90, but that's starting to look a little bit more possible that we're going to get that 90 before we start seeing a pullback there. We got the bonds moving back up. Last couple of days, we talked about it on Friday, moving back up into that 160 handle. That is now back above these Fibonacci levels that we've been talking about, lining up with that 162. That's acted as nice support before. Now we've gotten above there. You could see even yesterday acting as support. Today, continuing on right here to this 163, 164 handle, which is where I think the sweet spot is for the bonds. Because I've been talking about this. I do not see the Fed doing any type of quantitative, pulling away some of this quantitative easing or this easy money policy that we're seeing. They're going to continue to push interest rates lower, which means that's what we're seeing here in the bonds. Bonds go higher, interest rates go lower. We're seeing those levers and pulleys work out, and that's because folks are thinking that this increased rate or the rate hike is coming soon. We were seeing a lot of that earlier on this summer. That's not the case anymore. We're seeing those the interest rate probability come way out of the Fed raising interest rates there. Gold making a move. We've been talking about this. It should be going up there to test that 1900 handle if we think that inflation is no longer transitory, but here for a little bit longer. I mean, we've even heard Yellen talking about that as well, that the markets are a little ahead there and that they don't really see inflation necessarily as transitory as originally thought. Now, I don't think that they're really saying it's here to stay, but with elevated shipping costs, especially heading into a Christmas holiday or a holiday season, we would expect that prices are not going to come off at all. Bitcoin making that move up to 69,000. Ether making a nice big move as well, not quite outpacing Bitcoin like I was expecting, but it is still making those moves. And incrementally, percentage-wise, it is beating out, but not dollar-wise. I thought we were going to see Ether really start to catch up to Bitcoin there. At least for a little while. VIX making a move, and that's because we're starting to see some of these corrections in the equities. Now, I've been waiting for a pullback here for a little while. This is a little bit longer than what I was expecting. You can see on a 15-minute chart here. I haven't broken it down, but again, weakness here in the Dow Jones Industrial Average. This move to the upside was based on the fact that folks are thinking, hey, we're not going to see this interest rate rise. So a little bit of euphoria ahead of that. But I think it's probably a little bit overdone to the upside. This parabolic move and the E-mini S&Ps really is just way too steep of an incline to really not try to fade. So although we are back into this trend channel here that we're going to need to keep an eye on, because it has been a very solid line to keep an eye on for a trend channel, I'm a little bit leery of it holding this first time down. So I'm going to hold off on that. I still believe the risk is to the downside. You can see on our economic data points, this NFIB, which is the National Federation of Independent Businesses, is what really was the catalyst for that. Folks, if the small business is worried, then we are probably seeing those guys, because what happens is these small businesses are gauging the type of demand they're seeing. And obviously these folks are not seeing the type of demand with these elevated prices, and maybe a little bit more difficult to move some inventory there. Out of all of that, I haven't really done a whole lot keeping an eye on these stocks with Penn, the whole Portnoy thing, and they missed on earnings. I'm still into that, I'm still long Penn. I'm still holding on to it. I'm not scared right now. I'm not going to lie. I am a little nervous. And casinos in general, just seeing a little bit of a pullback after covering this gap in the Las Vegas Sands. Remember, I covered half my position when we covered that gap. I was looking to try and sell some covered calls in here the last couple of days, but the theta decay and trying to get 60 cents, which is about what I'd like to collect for one of these type of covered calls. It just wasn't really there with that volatility. And you can see the volatility's continued to increase. So I haven't missed my opportunity necessarily with this high volatility to sell covered calls. But in this short duration October month that we're seeing this in the November, there's only about 10 days left. So I'm really getting into that massive theta decay. I'm just not going to get the covered calls for Penn or Las Vegas Sands, at least in November. I'm going to start now looking at December to do my covered calls for both of those, because we have that elevated volatility and we have a clean month coming up with no earnings for these folks. So that's going to be the perfect time to start adding on those types of covered call strategies. So check that out at Pro Trader Strategies. Make sure you guys are subscribing so that you get those videos that I'm doing, and make sure you hit the little bell right next to it, folks, because that's the indicator to say, hey, he's coming in unannounced, just like this. These Spot the Trades videos, I'm not always going to be hitting an exact time. It's really going to be about what's going on that day and finding something to talk to share with you that can hopefully help you out in your trading. So make sure you subscribe and hit that little bell. All right, that's all I got. Before you go, smash that like button for me. It does help out. Feed some bots. Go out there and find folks like you. All right, and don't forget to comment if you're watching this, even though it wasn't live. I will make sure I circle back around to chat you guys up. All right. If you can't take that, take it easy. Oh, before you go, right after this, I'm interviewing Mary. She's worked with us for quite some time. We are going to be doing a video with her. So make sure you guys stick around, subscribe, hit the bell so that you guys are getting all the information out there that we're trying to give to you. All right. You're getting all that information. One of those is we're going to be starting this new series where we're interviewing folks. So comment on the side. You want me to interview somebody? I'll give them a shot. All right. So make sure you got that bell going.